Episode 7, The Reckoning opening scene, a chilling wide shot of Camp Arawak at dawn, silent, still, but drenched in an eerie fog. The blood-red light of the rising sun spills over the campgrounds, revealing a gruesome sight. 2 more campers, Chris and Megan, are found dead near the boathouse, their bodies mutilated in ways that don't match any normal attack. Their eyes are missing, their faces twisted in expressions of unimaginable terror. The group realizes they didn't just die, they saw something before they were killed, something horrifying. Julie, shaking, covers her mouth as Tommy kneels beside the bodies. "This wasn't an accident," he mutters. Eddie and Kate still haven't returned from the woods, and fear is spreading like wildfire. The campers panic, demanding to leave, but with the camp's only van mysteriously sabotaged, there's nowhere to go. The killer is still inside the camp. ACT-1. The fracturing group paranoia and fear begin to tear the remaining counselors apart. Tommy believes it's Angela, citing her increasingly disturbing behavior. Julie refuses to believe it, she still thinks someone else is in the woods, something inhuman. Eddie and Kate are still missing, leading some to believe they're dead, or worse, responsible. Angela barely speaks, staring into space, murmuring cryptic phrases like they're coming. "We let them in." Tension explodes when Tommy finds Angela sitting in her cabin, scribbling strange symbols onto the walls with blood, but she isn't hurt. "Tommy, what the hell is wrong with you?" Angela, whispering, "The camp wants blood. It always has." ACT-2. Angela's reckoning determined to get answers. Julie and Tommy confront Angela in the lodge, forcing her to talk. Angela finally cracks. She reveals that the murders from years ago never truly ended, they've just been buried. The camp's original founders practiced a twisted ritual in the woods, using campers as sacrifices to appease something ancient. The woods remember the blood, and every few years, it calls for more. Angela was chosen long ago to be part of this cycle, but she escaped. Now, the camp is trying to reclaim her. Angela, shaking, "I never wanted to come back. I knew if I did, it would start again." The room is dead silent. No one knows what to believe. Then, the power goes out. A loud knock at the front door. And a voice. Eerily familiar. "Let me in." ACT-3. Chaos breaks loose, the door bursts open, and Eddie stumbles in, covered in blood. He's injured, his face pale, his clothes torn. He gasps, "They took Kate. They took her into the ground." Before he can say more, something crashes against the windows, dark figures standing at the tree line, their bodies twisted and unnatural. The camp erupts into chaos. The remaining campers scream, running in all directions. Tommy tries to grab a knife, while Julie rushes to barricade the lodge. Angela, her eyes wide, mutters, "It's too late." Outside, the figures start moving closer. And then, one of them steps into the firelight. It's Kate. But her eyes are gone. And she's smiling. "Kate," in a hollow voice the woods have chosen. Cliffhanger ending. As the group stares in horror, the figures begin their approach, moving unnaturally, whispering in strange, garbled voices. Inside the lodge, Angela suddenly screams. She turns to Julie and grabs her, desperation in her voice. "Kill me. Kill me before they take me back." The screen cuts to black. Themes and takeaways. Paranoia and betrayal. The counselors can no longer trust each other, and fear is pushing them to their breaking points. Angela's dark connection. She knows more than she ever let on, and the camp wants her back. The true horror of the woods. The real threat is not just a killer, it's something older, something waiting beneath the camp. Kate's fate. Is she still alive? Or has she become part of whatever haunts the woods? Next episode, Episode 8. The Hollow Ones, the truth about the woods and the rituals. Angela's ultimate fate, will she be sacrificed? Can the group escape before it's too late? Or is Camp Arawak doomed to repeat the cycle forever? The reckoning has begun. And not everyone will survive. Episode 8, The Ghosts of Arawak opening scene. The episode opens with the distorted, dreamlike sequence, Angela standing at the edge of the lake, staring into the dark water. Ghostly whispers rise from the depths, calling her name. The reflections on the water shift, and suddenly, dozens of pale, dead faces emerge beneath the surface, their mouths open in silent screams. Angela gasps and wakes up in the lodge, drenched in sweat. The power is still out, the remaining counselors huddled together, weapons in hand. Outside, the twisted figures from the woods are still watching. A soft, childlike giggle echoes from the trees. Angela whispers, "They're here." ACT-1, haunted by the dead. Angela finally breaks down and reveals the truth to the group. She's been haunted for years by the spirits of the dead campers. She sees their faces at night, hears their whispers in the wind. They blame her for surviving. And now, they've come back to make her pay. As she speaks, strange occurrences begin inside the lodge. The windows frost over, even though it's the middle of summer. The walls start to bleed, faint at first, then more intensely. A shadowy figure moves in the background, flickering in and out of sight. Then, the front door slams open on its own. A chilling gust of wind rushes inside. Angela turns pale as a sheet. She whispers, "They're in the lodge." ACT-2, a deadly game of survival. The group is forced to separate when supernatural forces scatter them throughout the camp. Julie and Tommy run toward the mess hall, only to find it covered in old bloodstains that weren't there before. The ghosts of dead campers appear, staring at them with hollow eyes. Eddie, still injured, stumbles through the woods, hearing Kate's voice whispering his name. He turns and sees her standing between the trees, her head twitching unnaturally. Angela is lured into the abandoned cabins, where she's confronted by the ghost of a young boy, her brother, Peter. The ghosts aren't just here to haunt them, they're here to finish what was started. ACT-3, the truth about the past intercut with the present-day horrors. Flashbacks reveal the tragic origins of the original murders at Camp Arawak. Years ago, the camp's founders discovered something ancient buried in the woods, a force tied to blood rituals and sacrifice. The first killings were not random acts of violence, but a desperate attempt to contain the evil. Angela's family was part of it. Her brother, Peter, was meant to be sacrificed, but Angela was chosen instead. However, she survived. And by doing so, she doomed the camp to endless bloodshed. Angela collapses to the ground, whispering, "It was always meant to be me." Suddenly, the ghost of young Peter appears behind her. He places a hand on her shoulder and smiles. "Peter, it's time to come home, Angela." ACT-4, the lodge burns. Back at the lodge, Julie and Tommy try to regroup, but the ghosts are closing in. The twisted figures from the woods break through the doors, their faces a horrific mix of the dead and the living. The walls erupt in flames, the spirits of the past trapping them inside. Just when all seems lost, Angela appears in the doorway, her face blank, her voice eerily calm. "Angela, it's time to end this." She steps forward into the raging inferno, willingly sacrificing herself. The ghosts scream, and in an instant, the entire lodge explodes in a fiery burst. Cut to black. Final scene and cliffhanger. The next morning, the sun rises over the ruins of Camp Arawak. Tommy and Julie survive, crawling from the wreckage. The woods are silent, the ghosts seemingly gone. But Angela's body is never found. As they stagger toward the lake, something catches Julie's eye, a reflection in the water. It's Angela, staring back at her. She smiles. The screen cuts to black. Themes and takeaways. Angela's fate. Was she truly sacrificed, or has she become something else? The curse lives on. Even if the ghosts are gone, the evil in the woods may never be erased. The past can't be escaped. Camp Arawak's history is forever tied to blood, and it may not be over. Next episode preview. Episode 9. Ashes to Ashes. Is the horror really over, or is something worse waiting beneath the ashes? What happened to Angela? Can Tommy and Julie finally escape Camp Arawak, or are they doomed to stay forever? The nightmare is not over. It's only just begun.